wish I could explain to you just how deep the rabbit hole goes, and how secret societies, covert racist organizations, and government institutions, powerful special interest groups, and, yes, satanic cults govern society, orchestrate events, and control a lot of what you see, read, and hear. But that's too deep a subject to divert into. Let's just say in recent times, and for varying reasons, Cosby has ignited the wrath of several entities, which is why you are seeing this lynching spectacle. In fact, Bill Cosby has been on an FBI government enemy list back in 1971, put there by President Nixon, and Cosby's recent maneuvering has reignited the wrath of elite groups. Cosby was attempting to empower people of color and poor people, and he was on a speaking tour of sorts. He was also trying to buy a network to improve the portrayal of people of color. Only people from above didn't like what he had to say or what he was trying to do. They were watching him. Cosby wanted Black America to stop blaming white people, stop waiting for white handouts, and encouraged Black America to grab the reins of their own destinies and enterprises. He was calling people into action. Because they did not agree with his message, they blotted out the power of his message that had very much to do with self-reliance, self-preservation, and Black enterprise, with himself as a living example. And they reduced it to, Cosby tells Black America to pull up their pants. Yes, he did say that, but it was only a fraction of what he actually said. Regardless, lots of impressionable Black people who sat listening to television blurbs, mired in rampant stupidity, pride, and lack of respect for their elder statesmen. People who had absolutely no idea what else the man was saying bit the bait the media placed in front of them, and overnight, lots of anti-Cosby rhetoric began to pick up steam. Phase 2. Enter Hannibal Buress. Buress, one of many complaining about Cosby and the excerpts from his speeches that had nothing to do with his overall message, went on stage and began calling Cosby a rapist in response. Now, think about this. Hannibal Buress was never that famous or a big deal for people to ever want to encapsulate anything about him. No one cared about him. Yet, for some strange reason, someone was there to record his whole bit on Cosby. And for another strange reason, the video of this virtually unknown comedian went viral, and the news media kept talking about it over and over. Phase 3. All of a sudden, Cosby rape memes started popping up all over the place from unknown sources. When Cosby asked fans to meme him, he was gang-stalked by these unknown entities who kept the rape memes coming. Where were they coming from? In retrospect, no one knows exactly. Then, at the height of all the fabricated hysteria about Cosby and rape, Barbara Bauman, closely followed by Beverly Johnson, had very prepared and detailed op-eds all ready and set to go. After Bauman was placed right smack on primetime TV with her story, just in case you had any doubts, boom, they sent in Beverly Johnson. Shortly after that, boom, Janice Dickinson, and then all the rest one by one. In a very planned and orchestrated spectacle, shocking numbers began to pour in, all of a sudden. 2014 to 2015 was supposed to be a very big comeback year for Cosby, with a new Cosby Show coming out and all. That's why he was shut down with so much haste. Even though there was no trial, conviction, or legal validation of any of this, the news media kept leading these unvetted people and their stories onto TV. Netflix and NBC obnoxiously and quickly yanked all of Cosby's shows just like that, without any discussion about it. Everything moved extremely fast, almost as though they knew this was going to happen and awaited it. All of the TV networks suddenly canceled all of Cosby's TV appearances. The Navy publicly discussed revoking Cosby's honors with their institution. Even President Obama was forced to publicly make a statement about Cosby because people strangely asked him about Cosby when he was supposed to be talking about the Iran deal. Everyone on The View, The Talk, Wendy Williams, everyone was chiming in with very negative commentary, talking about something that had no merit outside of court, but was part of a public smear campaign that had been ordered into effect. All this as the number of women didn't seem to stop. No, they didn't tell us anything about most of these women or what their claims actually were, or if they were even possible. They just kept telling us more women are coming forward. Orchestrated agenda complete. Who was Bill Cosby? Well, America, in one of its darkest periods in time, would like to redefine that for us and X him out of history in imposed disgrace. Whether she succeeds or not, I will remind each of you viewing this a little bit about who he is. Bill Cosby is a man who set the bar very high for African Americans, and he paved the way for people of color that will always be unparalleled. You see, because of the smut now thrown on him, they would like you to forget that before Cosby, there were hardly any black people in serious roles on TV. Bill Cosby helped break that mold and allowed others to follow after him. He didn't stop there. He was a man of character and purpose in everything that he did. As a black male, he maintained a standard for himself that everyone had to respect. He refused the typical roles assigned to black actors like drug dealers, pimps, or thugs, and chose positive portrayals. And if those roles didn't exist, he incredibly became instrumental in creating those roles for himself and for other actors of color. He was funny and clever without being profane or vulgar. He ingeniously exuded black pride, but not being angry or militant, but by being warm, welcoming, charming, and brilliant. He almost single-handedly made younger generations of black children aspire to go to college and to see themselves as productive members of society. For the first time, they saw positive imagery of people who looked like them. He became a beloved father figure to aspire to be like. But now, a part of history has been damaged and altered by unclean hands. A legacy has come under attack to be rewritten and eclipsed. He, like the rest of us, is human and imperfect, and we as human beings all have faults. But he kept dark aspects of himself out of the light to promote an image much more greater than himself for a people who needed it. A comedian, an intellectual, a father, a teacher, a trailblazer, an activist, a mogul, and a master storyteller has become a story in the news. And for all that he has done, and despite what he meant to so many people, he wasn't even given a day in a real court for sentencing, for an opportunity for real justice. He was swept to the side without due process, ridiculed, berated, and harshly sentenced by the crowd led out of control to be forgotten. I, for one, am positioned with resolve to not